Hello there, good evening. Welcome to Look North, our top story tonight. Liberty lives, for now. A stay of execution for one of South Yorkshire's big employers, but the uncertainty continues.
When they owe you a lot of money and they offer you a measly percentage of what they owe you, that doesn't help your little businesses.
Besides those who are owed money, we'll be speaking to people in Stocksbridge. Also tonight, ready to leave hospital since January, but stuck and unable to go home, we hear David's frustration. Lives owed to charity. We meet people fundraising for Yorkshire Cancer Research as it celebrates its centenary.
It's AJ, you're locked in with me, Chef City, you already know what it is.
And a young rapper from Sheffield taking centre stage in a new documentary about northern talent.
And believe it or not, there might be a little bit of patchy rain coming out of the sky tonight, but sunshine will be on its way back for tomorrow. Join me for the detailed forecast.
Hello there, it's good to have your company this Wednesday evening. The fate of Liberty hangs in the balance once again tonight. The South Yorkshire company was due in court earlier and could have been forced to close over unpaid debts. However, a last-minute reprieve in the form of an 8-week delay was granted after lawyers for the firm said urgent meetings had been taking place with a potential buyer. The problems facing Liberty Steel and the workers at the sites in our region aren't new news. The business has been involved in what they call complex debt restructuring since 2021. And take a look at this. The debt totals more than £600 million. The company employs nearly 1,500 people at its plants in Rotherham and Sheffield. The uncertainty is impacting not just those who work there, but also those nearby, the businesses who rely on trade from the workers. Mark Ansell is in Stocksbridge for us tonight outside HQ, and he can give us an overview of what's been going on today. Mark.
Well, Amy, steel has been made here at this Stocksbridge plant for more than 180 years. Stocksbridge is a steel community, and just down the road in Rotherham there are a further 3 Liberty Steel plants. 1,450 people are employed by the company here in South Yorkshire, but it's had financial problems for several years now, and today a court could have wound it up because of £618 million worth of debt, but it's been given 8 weeks to do a deal with a potential buyer. We've been speaking with shoppers here in Stocksbridge and shop owners, including a woman who runs a cafe here who is owed money by the company, one of those debtors. Her name is Tracy.
It's not a case of we want it to be liquidated. What it was is we wasn't willing to accept the terms that they actually put in place. When they owe you a lot of money and they offer you a measly percentage of what they owe you, that doesn't help your little businesses or many of the other industries that are actually supporting the steel industry and have done for years.
There's a lot of things influencing the businesses, and they're closing down. We've already lost 2 businesses along this street. If we lose the industry here with the steel, it's going to make it worse.
Samuel Fox's, as it was originally, it was very well known, and most of the people who lived here would work there at one time, including my partner's grandma, who worked there during the war. She was one of the women of steel, so yeah. So I think, yeah, it would be a shame if it did shut, because it would take a lot of jobs from the area.
Well, last month you'll remember that the government took control of British Steel in Scunthorpe. However, government sources have told the BBC that they will not be doing the same with Liberty Steel here in South Yorkshire to save those jobs. We've been getting reaction to this news from the steel union community.
I can understand them from that. Obviously it's frustrating and leads to more uncertainty for me and my members, but I can see why they're taking that stance, but I would hope and I'd call on them when the time was right to step in, because like I've said previously, these assets are strategic and vital for the UK steel industry.
Liberty Steel have said in a statement today that today's adjournment is a positive development, allowing us the necessary time to finalise options, including a sale of the business, while we continue to pursue our debt restructuring efforts. We recognise that change is essential to set the business on a positive trajectory and provide certainty for our creditors, employees and stakeholders. Now, Liberty Steel have avoided insolvency after a potential buyer was found. They have until the 16th of July to get that deal done, and there'll be thousands of families here in South Yorkshire keeping a close eye on this story, as will we.
We will indeed, Mark, thank you. Next tonight, a man from West Yorkshire who had his leg amputated following a sepsis infection says he's been left to rot in hospital despite being medically fit to leave. David Taylor from Nottingley has been ready for discharge from Pontefract Hospital since the middle of January, but has struggled to find housing suitable for his wheelchair and other needs. Vico Homes, which was formerly known as Wakefield District Housing, says it is working alongside the council and other providers to find a solution. Our health correspondent Jamie Coulson has the story.
David Taylor had his left leg amputated last November after developing a life-threatening sepsis. The 56-year-old had 5 operations at Pinderfields Hospital in Wakefield before being moved to Pontefract Hospital to continue his recovery. He's now been ready for discharge since the middle of January, but remains in hospital because his wheelchair won't fit in his existing house and he's struggled to find a new home.
I've been left to rot. I shouldn't be in this position. It's unreal, absolutely unreal.
Like you want to scream and scream and scream and nobody's going to do anything about it, even if you do. Just nobody's doing anything. They're saying this, saying that, nothing, absolutely nothing.
David has been offered supported accommodation by the council but wants to live independently. He's been applying for 3 properties a week since January through Vico Homes, which was formerly known as Wakefield District Housing, but with no success. The company says it's explored a number of options with the family, but they haven't met his specific needs. They say they're one of many housing providers in the area looking to support Mr Taylor alongside Wakefield Council. While David's individual case is unusual, the issue of patients being stuck in hospital when they're fit for discharge is not uncommon. The reasons vary, but can include problems at the hospital, difficulties with social care, or as in this case, problems sorting housing. Latest data shows that across the 12 acute hospital trusts in North, South and West Yorkshire, there were more than 32,000 patients discharged from hospital in March. Of these, 84% were discharged on time, but 16% were not. This means that more than 30,000 bed days were lost due to delayed discharge.
Nobody should be staying in hospital any longer than they need to, but thousands every day are remaining on wards simply because the NHS can't discharge them to where they can receive more appropriate care. And there is evidence to show that it does impact on their mental health. It can also lead to decline in their physical health as well.
The government says funding has been made available to reduce avoidable admissions and delayed discharges, which includes an additional £3.7 billion to local authorities, which provide social care. But for David, home is still a hospital. Jamie Coulson, BBC Look North.
Gosh, so frustrating for him, isn't it? And we will continue to follow David's story as he continues to look for suitable housing. Keeping with David, actually, earlier I spoke with Emma Dodsworth. She's from the independent health and social care think tank, the Nuffield Trust. I asked her how much impact delays in discharging patients is having on hospitals.
So if you think that it's very difficult to get people out of hospital, you'll find that it's also very difficult to get people into hospital. And we know that ambulance and A&E services are really feeling this pressure. We also know that delayed discharges are a significant and growing problem in community hospitals. Now, community hospitals provide some level of intermediate care for people who've been discharged from hospital, but they're not yet ready to go home. And so there's a real risk that in trying to rush people through discharge from hospital, you end up shifting that bottleneck further down the pathway, which has significant impact on the patient's health and well-being.
Just explain to us what causes the delays in getting people out of hospital.
Yeah, there are many causes for delay, and it's an incredibly complex process that goes on. A frequently cited reason is a lack of capacity in social care, and the evidence definitely supports this. We know that many people who are discharged require some additional social care support, whether that's in their own home or in a care home. And all of that requires organisation, resources, and importantly, staff to provide that care. But we also know that around a fifth of delays are due to hospital processes, so people waiting for additional tests or maybe sign-off letters to be completed. But frequently, it's that joining up of the two services that can be a significant stumbling block.
We have been having this same conversation for well over 10 years now. Why are the lines not joining up?
Absolutely. I think it's an incredibly difficult problem to solve, but the government does recognise it as a top priority and they've allocated funding specifically to reduce delayed discharges. The problem is that that funding is often very short term and it just doesn't touch the size in terms of addressing the chronic challenges, particularly in social care, which we know obviously contributes to a lot of the delays. So the workforce shortages and also addressing the long-term need for for reform for social care that is so desperately needed. So without that long-term thinking, matched with long-term funding, you just won't see the reduction in delayed discharges that you hope for.
Emma, thank you for your time. Now, if you or a loved one has ever received hospice care, then you'll know how vital that care is. Well, in Chesterfield, they've launched a latest campaign to boost vital funding for end-of-life services. Ashgate Hospice says it faces growing financial challenges and donations from the public are imperative. The Dragonfly Appeal invites people to dedicate a dragonfly in memory of someone special and was unveiled today at Chatsworth House. Heidi Booth reports.
This display of dragonflies represents much needed funding for Ashgate Hospice. A donation for one of these ornaments honours the memory of a loved one and supports the charity financially.
In order to make sure that we have the skilled staff that we need, that we have the facilities that people deserve and ought to have at the end of their life, we have to raise that money every year from the community of North Derbyshire. Thus the cost of looking after our facilities and caring for our patients is always on the increase, and that means we're always having to come out and ask for more support from our community.
Appeals like this one, the hospice say, are extremely important. 31% of their funding currently comes from the NHS, and they say that leaves an £11 million shortfall each year to be raised in fundraising and donations.
Barry and his daughter Claire know firsthand how important donations are. Barry's wife of 50 years, Sue, was supported by Ashgate before she died 2 years ago.
Mum spent quite a few weeks in Ashgate Hospice and was given a lot of support by the hospice, and we as a family were given support by the hospice. And it's somewhere that we just found was really, really serene and a really nice place to be. And Mum really enjoyed having her time there.
My wife was taken into the hospice just before Easter 2 years ago with only 2 weeks to live. And 7 weeks later, thanks to their care, she was discharged home. Ashgate gave us another summer together. But as Claire said earlier, they focus on the needs of the individual patient. It's not a one-size-fits-all.
It's hoped this appeal alone will raise £100,000 for the hospice.
Which will again support people being an inpatient or in their own homes, whether that's with a nurse or a medical person or a volunteer supporting them. So it does help support the financial kind of care that we need to deliver, really, the finance behind that care that we want to deliver.
The dragonflies will be on display at Chatsworth until the 22nd of May, with each one raising at least £30 for charity. Heidi Booth, BBC Look North, Derbyshire.
Let's have a look at some other stories coming into our newsroom now. The government has revealed that both of the water companies serving Yorkshire are at the centre of a number of criminal investigations into alleged water pollution. Yorkshire Water and Anglian Water are facing inquiries by the Environment Agency as part of a national government crackdown on sewage pollution in rivers and the sea. Ministers are warning that new powers give them the ability to jail the bosses of water companies that have been proven to have broken the law.
If a water company is successfully prosecuted, they will pay back the cost of prosecution so that the regulators can carry out more investigations into breaches by the water companies. That is how we start to clean up our rivers, lakes and seas. And we've also passed legislation to strengthen sentences against water bosses who are not focusing on cleaning up our rivers from the pollution that their businesses are allowing to pour into our rivers and seas.
Well, in a statement, Water UK, responding on behalf of the water companies, said it is right that water companies are investigated and held to account when things go wrong. Almost 99% of sewage and water treatment works meet their permits, and we're focused on getting to 100%. Bit of sports news now. York City's dreams of a return to the Football League are over, sadly, for another season. Instead, it's Oldham who are on their way to the promotion final at Wembley on June the 1st. Oldham won last night's playoff semi-final convincingly by 3-0. And although there can be no arguments about the result last night, York fans are feeling a little bit sorry for themselves, having watched their team finish 23 points above Oldham at the end of the regular National League season.
It was just the wrong team, wrong everything. Everything was just rubbish.
York, worst game I've seen them play all season, to be honest.
We'll still support them.
All the great performances this season, and then it's gutting at the end that this happens. But they've been a credit to the city, credit to the club, and the fans have stuck, come tonight. But it's just disappointing. That's football. We'll go again next year.
Yep, go again next year indeed. Campaigners say they are heartbroken after a motion to reverse changes to the home-to-school bus policy in North Yorkshire was defeated at a meeting today. Now, last year, you might remember, the council changed the rules so it would only pay for transport to a child's nearest school rather than using the previous catchment system. That was in order to save £3 million a year. Claudia Robinson can tell us more.
What do we want? Catchment! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Catchment! When do we want it? Now!
Passionate about trying to persuade councillors to change their minds over the decision, dozens gathered outside County Hall in Northallerton ahead of today's vote.
For us to change a policy that was recently enacted, that people have made choices on the basis of, is simply irresponsible.
Councillors can be good if you vote with your conscience for catchment.
But after hearing from councillors both for and against returning to the previous catchment policy, the decision was made to keep the changes, 45 in favour, 35 against.
Nobody likes to pay for transport. Nobody at all. I cannot stress enough how much sympathy I have with those parents. But nonetheless, we've got to take a more global strategic view right across the county. We're here to look after everybody.
Today's decision means many parents will have to move their children to a different school to still qualify for free transport or to foot the bill themselves.
We're in the position now where I'm going to have to make sacrifices to take them. They're my children. I'll do whatever it takes. It's not just my children. There's currently 90 children at Reeth and Gunnerside schools where we're at. So it's all of them children as well, and it's going to split our community up. And I have massive mum guilt at the moment about all of this.
After a year-long battle, campaigners say they're now working out what to do next. Claudia Robinson, BBC Look North, Northallerton.
Yorkshire Cancer Research has launched a walk-in challenge to encourage people to raise funds to mark the charity's 100th birthday. Founded at the Old Medical School in Leeds on this very day in 1925, it's now one of the biggest cancer research centres in the world. Hundreds of people are taking part in the We Walk for Yorkshire event, including former patients who say they owe their lives to the charity. Nicola Rees went along with them.
As fundraising challenges go, this one really is a walk in the park, with every step raising money for Yorkshire Cancer Research.
After you, Pete.
For David Sutcliffe from Leeds, fundraising is a chance to give something back. He says he owes his life to the charity after he took part in one of their clinical trials. The Leeds Lung Health Check saw mobile CT scanners arriving in supermarket car parks.
At my age, you think if I'm going to be offered a scan, yes, I'll take the opportunity. And when I got a letter from the LGI a week after the scan saying we found something, wow, that was, a hammer blow.
David's cancer was detected early and operated on quickly and successfully.
Very grateful for Yorkshire Cancer Research for funding the Leeds Health Check, and I'm living proof that it is so effective. Catching any disease early is so beneficial.
The screening programme was rolled out nationally and saved countless lives. It's one of many success stories that Yorkshire Cancer Research is highlighting as it marks its 100-year anniversary.
Over that 100 years, thousands and thousands and thousands of people have engaged with us and taken part in our research and our clinical trials, and we have saved thousands of lives. And that is not just within Yorkshire, although predominantly it is, but around the globe, because some of the work that we've funded has led to international blockbuster drugs.
It all started here in May 1925. Back then, the old medical school in Leeds was home to a small research laboratory.
I was just telling your wife I have good news.
By the 1930s, the charity was already promoting its early detection message in a TV ad that at the time was considered highly innovative.
Oh, Doctor, what a relief. If people would only seek advice in good time, half the troubles in the world would disappear. Well,
Yorkshire still has cancer problems, so we still have more people diagnosed with cancer than almost anywhere else in England. We are determined to change that. So May is all about We Walk for Yorkshire here at the charity. We're aiming to raise £100,000 to celebrate our 100th year anniversary.
Well done, everybody!
The greatest joy of all was the extra few years to see my grandchildren grow up. Those are the precious, priceless treasures, and I hope everybody else can share that.
There are stories like David's up and down the country, but the work doesn't stop here. The charity says its ultimate goal is a Yorkshire free from cancer. Nicola Rees, BBC Look North.
And happy birthday to Yorkshire Cancer Research. Now, many of us have faced crossroads in our lives, haven't we? But for Sheffield artist AJ, things have been a little more challenging, growing up in care, facing homelessness and turning to drug crime. But she has turned things around. Now 25, she's one of Sheffield's upcoming talents and part of a documentary called Slam City. AJ hopes that her story will help others rise against the tide. Arzu Dutta has been to meet her.
Yes, people, it's AJ. You're locked in with me, Chef City. You already know what it is. I asked God from a young age, take me back to where I came from.
AJ is a rapper from Sheffield. It all began in childhood when she started writing poetry, but she's now writing bars.
Yeah, and I say no more pain.
AJ has been in the care system since she was 3 years old, and despite finding love with her foster family, the challenges didn't stop there.
Give them hell back when the hell came.
I feel like from young, it's been challenging from me basically being born. Like my mum, my biological mum at that time, I couldn't understand why me. Do you know what I mean? Why didn't my mum want me, or like, and I didn't understand at this point. I had this mum that was willing to be that mum. Do you know what I'm saying?
For AJ, coming from a deprived background meant that she looked up to the wrong role models, but she wants other young people to have dreams despite the area they might come from.
You don't look up to people that are in offices with big cars. You look up to people that are on shops, that are selling drugs. You think it's easy, quick money. That's very misinterpreted because it isn't that at all. But at the same time, it's not quick, it's not fast, it's a lot of danger.
She's now rewriting the lyrics to her story, one rap at a time.
And the woman was in it.
AJ is part of a new documentary that tells the story of up-and-coming artists from Sheffield.
They want to express themselves, they can't be.
Filmmakers of Slam City want to show the importance of artists from working-class backgrounds in the industry.
And yet it's almost a disconnection from the wider industry, which then breeds all the more of, very, very interesting artists and very different artists.
I think it's about time that, our artists are championed. We're taken very seriously. It can be definitely an inspirational tool for people who have come from those backgrounds or those experiences to see AJ and be like, okay, right, it's possible.
AJ is booked for gigs around the country and even as far as America. And her foster mum Sharon couldn't be prouder.
Put these on. Put these on.
I've tried to get to most of her singings and what she's doing. Her confidence on stage is out of this world. Because off stage she's like sneaky and that. And then on stage, she just bubbles. It's just their confidence.
With passion and commitment, anything is possible for those that dream. Arzu Dutta, BBC Look North, Sheffield.
Good luck, AJ. Well, he promised me a drink for my birthday. Where did we end up, Mr. Hudson?
You had a better offer. That's what happened.
We ended up on a bench with a packet of crisps.
Yeah, we did actually.
He knows how to treat a lady.
I bought the crisps. Anyway, lovely day. That piece, you saw the sunny sky there in Sheffield, fantastic. There's more sunshine to come. I'm going to come on to the bank holiday forecast in a moment, but I just want to show you a couple of pictures, if we can get there. There we are. You've been really active taking these pictures of the reservoirs this week. That's Butterley up near Mars, and you can see that's suffering. Remember, yesterday reservoir levels were put at an average of 66%. And this is a very different shot. That, if you look very carefully, look, the Ribblehead Viaduct, that's taken from Whernside. So a lovely picture. What a day for doing the Three Peaks. If you've got any pictures, send them in to me, of course. The addresses are on your screen right now. Instagram, and the wonderful Weather Watcher website. So tomorrow, a bit of a shock to the system at first. There might be a bit of light rain around, especially across southern parts of the region. It will soon clear out of the way. And then normal service resumed as sunshine spreads down from the north. The patchy rain tonight, courtesy of that feature. Lovely day on Friday. Make the most of it, because this weather front will bring some rain on Saturday. But I have to say, it's a pretty weak feature. Amounts of rain could well be fairly small. And then the rest of the bank holiday weekend, a mixture of sunny spells and scattered showers. There's a satellite picture, apart from some cloud along the coast. It's a really lovely afternoon we've just had, and there's still quite a bit of sunshine to come through this evening. And then overnight, very exciting stuff for the first time in a couple of months. A bit of rain slipping down from the north, especially for eastern areas. As I say, no great shakes, a couple of millimetres in places, and we'll see lowest temperatures coming in at around about 6 or 7 degrees. Tomorrow's high water times, Filey, just one in the 24-hour period, 12:35. So cloud and patchy rain soon clearing away southwards. Skies brighten from the north through the morning. The afternoon looks lovely. Bit of a fresher feel, actually. Top temperatures around 15 or 16 degrees Celsius. Beautiful day on Friday. Saturday, a bit disappointing. Some patchy rain at times, but sunshine and a few showers for the rest of the bank holiday weekend. That's the forecast.
Thank you very much. We will make the most of Friday. I'm going wild swimming.
Oh, how the other half live.
Well, it's a very middle-aged thing to do, isn't it? Now I'm celebrating mid-age.
Right.
That is it from us. Tommy with your late news. Night-night.